Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Draw Control Podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by incoming sophomore on the North Carolina women's lacrosse team, Caroline Godine. This past season, Caroline was on the ACC All-Freshman Team, ACC All-Tournament Team, and was an honorable mention All-American by USA Lacrosse Magazine. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Caroline, and how's everything going?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. Everything's great. Been having a really fun, relaxing summer. But definitely looking forward to getting back on campus down in Chapel Hill.
Anything interesting you've been up to this summer, whether it's lacrosse related or not?
Yeah, I've actually been in Europe for the past month. Got back a couple of days ago. Some of my high school friends and I have been studying abroad there at the London School of Economics. And we're able to travel sometimes on the weekends and after. So that's been a blast to just kind of see other parts of the country and just hang out with some old friends. And then like lacrosse related, once I got back, kind of had to start taking it a little bit more seriously, get back on the grind. Yeah, it's been good.
What's like the coolest city you got to visit in Europe when you were up there? Like
Uh, so
up,
my
I don't know if it's up or
family,
down, but up there.
yeah, yeah, like I guess east. I'd say probably my favorite city was Florence in Italy. I went with my parents, but sorry, my friends sorry my mouth. Probably Florence would be my favorite city, but on the weekends during when I was actually in school session, we visited Amsterdam and Paris. So those were definitely cool to see, just kind of on our
Mhm.
own, without parents and stuff.
That sounds awesome. I've always wanted Amsterdam looks super clean. That's from I don't know if it just looks that way if it actually is.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, it 100% is. It was really cool just to see kind of the contrast from London. London felt to me at least a lot like New York, just kind of a cooler, hipper New York. But once we went to Amsterdam, I was impressed by all the bicycles. Everyone's just bike riding around, barely any cars, and it's definitely clean, super pretty. You got canals through every street, so it was
Yeah.
definitely just like a cool spot to see. Very different than here in the States.
Well, I've never left North America, so I feel like I gotta go out to Europe
Yeah,
at some point. But
yeah, no, yeah, I definitely recommend it. It was really cool.
I feel like I would want to see Ireland first. That looks like the best. I don't know if you got the chance to go there, but that looks super fun.
Yeah, no, that was definitely one of the places we wanted to go. I mean, we only had about 2 weekends in the abroad
Hmm.
span to go to, and Ireland was up there. We were debating going to Dublin. A couple of our dads really wanted us to go, but yeah, we didn't get the chance. That's definitely on the bucket list for sure.
Now, in regards to your lacrosse training, what have you been working on for the upcoming season?
Yeah, so I have a good like shooting coach here, local in Baltimore. So I definitely try to see him as much as I can. Always just working on shooting, kind of my form and everything. And then I usually like to play like mostly from behind, so just kind of dodges from back there, finishing on the crease, stuff like that. Just kind of getting back in the groove, playing against some of the best defenders. So just trying to get stay ready for the season and everything.
So let's transition now and talk about the beginning of your lacrosse career and sort of work all the way up to where you are today. So first one is you're from, hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly, Owings Mills, Maryland.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah, no,
about
great job. Yep.
talk about growing up there and how'd you start playing lacrosse?
Yeah, so basically I would say I'm from locally like Baltimore, Maryland. Owens Mills is like very specific town, but definitely kind of in the Baltimore area. It's lacrosse is a huge sport. It's our state sport. So grew up, very little age, playing lacrosse, playing a lot of sports, but lacrosse has always been, my favorite. A lot of family members played. So kind of always had stick in my hand from a young age and just always enjoyed kind of being on the field and playing. So yeah, Owensville is a great place right next to my high school, McDonough. So kind of always around the game.
Now, did you watch any lacrosse growing up? And if so, who were like some of your favorite teams and players that you liked?
Yeah, so most of my family went to UVA. My dad played there, so I'd say my earliest memories of lacrosse would be going to UVA games at Klockner, just kind of watching. Usually men. I have two older brothers, So the men's games were definitely on the TV most of the time when I was growing up. And then I'd say probably like fifth grade, I kind of started watching more women's lacrosse. My dad kind of got more into it, took me to games. There's always games at Towson or Navy, big games like quarterfinals, semifinal games for the NCAA. So once I kind of started going to those games and, imagining myself, playing for some of those teams, watched a lot of those games, Maryland, UNC, Boston College, and in the later years, those were definitely games that I always tuned into.
Well, before college, like you mentioned, you played for your high school at McDonough school. Talk about your experience with McDonough and sort of what you took away from the high school lacrosse experience.
Yeah, so my mom went there, and I've been going there since kindergarten. So it was, I love McDonough. I have only the best things to say about the school. And then obviously, it's a pretty established lacrosse program. So got the opportunity to play under Taylor Cummings for all 4 years, and it was definitely just a great experience. Our conference is so tough, and we play against some of the best players in the country every single year, every single game. So the IAM definitely just prepares us. It's all these girls that we know, we're friends with on our club team. So definitely a great experience at McDonough. Definitely prepared me well for the college game.
Now, what's like the best memory you have from your prep school lacrosse days?
Yeah, so we were kind of sophomore year was COVID, so kind of put a damper on some of my college or high school career. But I'd say my freshman year, we ended up being the number one team in the country, and we won our championship, which is pretty, it's a big deal around this area. So I'd say that was definitely really cool. Being able to play a little bit as a freshman and contributing to that championship was definitely a cool thing. But the rest of the 3 years were also super awesome, and we still had a great team and season each year.
Now, how did your prep school lacrosse experience help prepare you for college lacrosse? Obviously, you're being coached by Taylor Cummings, so that definitely
Yeah.
helps out a little bit. But you've also,
Yep.
I assume, played with and against some really good players, so it sort of probably made that transition to North Carolina much easier for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're kind of in the game or in the program, you don't really think much of it because just kind of every other day you're surrounded by all these people, and a lot of them are on my club team where I play against in club games every single weekend. So when I was in high school, I never really thought much of it. But then once I got down to school, I could definitely tell kind of the girls that had been playing against these tough, competitors all their lives. And I think just coming from Maryland, coming from Baltimore, playing at McDonough, we just see the best every single day, every single week. So it prepared me tremendously. And I feel like college, it's obviously a huge step up, but we were ready for it, and it was definitely a good decision to just keep going to McDonough.
Now, you also participated in the Under Armour All-American game. What was that experience like for you getting to do that?
Yeah, it was super cool. I mean, obviously, you hear about that growing up, and you want to be a part of it. So it was a very nice honor that I was invited. It was a great weekend. A lot of my friends were also on the team. We ended up losing, but it was definitely still a great weekend and just a really fun experience to be a part of.
Now, talk about your recruiting process with North Carolina and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at.
Yeah. I mean, my recruiting process, like, again, it was COVID, so might be a little different than some other people. So we had a lot of like Zoom sessions. I mean, we weren't always allowed to get onto the campus. So that was definitely hard for me. I feel like that's kind of one of the reasons I took my time. Like, I think a lot of people committed really early, in my opinion, like September, first, second, there was already people committing, which was awesome that they knew where they wanted to go, but that definitely wasn't me. I am probably one of the more indecisive people I've ever met. So I could never make a decision within a couple weeks. So I took my time. I mean, I think I was one of the later ones to commit. Just really wanted to make sure I was making the right decision for me. And at the end of the day, I just, felt like North Carolina was the place that I wanted to be, and I couldn't really see myself anywhere else.
Now, what was sort of the biggest adjustment you had to make to college lacrosse as a freshman this past season?
Yeah, so I think being away from home was definitely tough. I love, kind of being at home with my family. So that was kind of the first adjustment, the first couple of weeks. And then once we started playing lacrosse, just realizing how good everyone was. I know everyone kind of says that, but it's definitely super true. Everyone there was the best player in their county on their team. So it was just really cool to just be surrounded by all those amazing players and just seeing everyone. They just love the game so much. They try so hard, and they make us better every single day at practice.
Now you play in the ACC. What's it like playing in that conference? Just the competition you face each game, because I think it's the best conference in women's lacrosse. I know that might be a hot take because I know the Big Ten's very good as well, but I don't know. That's just from my experience watching the sport. I would say it's probably the best conference in my opinion, but people could disagree with me on that. But I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, personally, I think it's definitely the best conference. And it's awesome. I think it's cool that so many games are televised. You know, it's easy for family and friends to watch our games, which is such a big thing. And again, every single game is, you know, really big deal on our schedule. You know, it's always start if it's an ACC game, just because of how great the competition is. I mean, we play the best teams in the country just in our own league every single year. So it's always a battle no matter who it is. So definitely fortunate enough to play against them. And I think it serves our team and our just UNC as a whole really well to play in that league and prepare us for tournament time.
Now, your team is obviously one of the top ranked teams in the country throughout the last few years, especially last year when you were on the team. So, how does your team sort of maintain that consistency of winning regular season games? And how do you guys also handle the pressure of being one of the top ranked teams in the country? Because you know, every time you play a team, there's always going to be a target on your back.
Yeah, I mean, only being a freshman last year, I definitely don't know all the pressure that everyone's been through. But coming in, obviously, they had just come off of a national championship, ACC championship, so there was definitely a lot of pressure. We graduated a lot of people, so in some ways, there was like, you know, some of the pressure was taken off as compared to maybe some other teams who have won in the past. But definitely always like if, you know, you play the UNC, it's probably, you know, one of your better games on the schedule. So we know every team is coming for us, and our coach always prepares us for that before the games, just making sure we're ready and that we know that, you know, there's a little bit of a target on our back, but I think we embrace it as much as we can, and we love that, you know, we're seeing everyone's best game hopefully. And yeah, it's just a ton of fun playing that, you know, just such a high level.
Now, your team made it all the way and lost to Boston College in the ACC championship game. What did your team learn from that loss, and what was your mindset heading into the national tournament after that game?
Yeah, it was definitely a hard loss. I think we had probably won six in a row before that. So everyone on our team has just experienced all these ACC championships. So it was hard just to kind of grasp the fact that they didn't win that one. But Boston College, obviously an amazing team, definitely a different team than the team that we beat a couple weeks prior in the beginning of the season. But I think it was a good game. You know, I think we learned a lot. Obviously, wish we, you know, put a couple more in the net just to win that. But I think I personally learned a lot from that game. It was hard on all of the freshmen, but it was a lot of fun, and props to BC. They played a great game.
And in the national tournament, your team made it all the way to the quarterfinals, eventually losing to Denver. Talk about your first experience in the national tournament, beating a top 20 ranked team in Richmond, but then losing in a very good defensive battle against a team like Denver.
Yeah, so we had a couple of good games prior to Denver. So Richmond was obviously a really really good team. I think they surprised a lot of people. Their offense was awesome. You know, gave our defense all they could handle, and then their defense played super well against us. So it was a really fun game, a close battle. Happy that we got, you know, away with that win to make it to the quarterfinals. And then Denver, we knew all year. I followed Denver pretty closely, and we knew their defense was really, really hard to beat. And people had struggled previously against them, especially in the Big East. So we knew it'd be a tough game. You know, we were happy that we were the 4th seed, so they had to come to us. But yeah, it was hard just offensively being an attacker. Only putting up 4 goals was, you know, not our best showing. But again, you got to give credit to Denver, their game plan, some of their great defensive players who really just showed up and outplayed us there.
Now, what are your team's goals and expectations for next season?
I mean, I think our goals are always the same. I think coming into the season in our program, I think, you know, we want to get better every year. I think last year was definitely a little bit disappointing to our coaches, our team, definitely. So I think, returning, making it back to the ACC tournament, making it back to the championship, and hopefully taking the ring there, and then also making it farther in the NCAA tournament, and hopefully making a championship game, and ultimately winning the championship would probably be our biggest goal.
Obviously, there's going to be some new rule changes next season, mostly regarding green cards. I sort of wanted to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, I don't really follow that kind of stuff, so I'm not sure what the changes are going to be. But I definitely hear a lot during the season. Some coaches, want to have some rule changes, just probably, I guess, to protect the players more. I'm all for that, but if there's like more cards, I'm not really sure how I feel about that. If it's more like the boys' game with flags, I feel like that might be unnecessary. But I'm all for. I think if the rules committee thinks it's a good idea, it's probably right way to lead our sport. But yeah, I don't really know too much about the rule changes.
Well, it's not going to go to 11v11. That one didn't pass. It's going to still be
Oh,
12v12.
okay, got it. Okay, yeah, I probably would have liked to see it go 11v11. I think us having the restraining line, even less space than the guys' game, and having 7 players on attack. I think sometimes people would say it clogs up the space, and there could be some issues there. So probably for me personally, being an attacker, I'd like to see it go 6v6 on that side. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait to see that.
Now, obviously, you go to a really good school. So, how do you balance both academics and lacrosse at such a high level?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. Any sport, any school, I'm sure. I think my high school definitely prepared me well. I always played sports every season in high school, and so I thought I was pretty prepared going in. Obviously, you never really know for sure going to UNC and big time program, but I had to definitely work on my time management. I had to say no to things that maybe I wanted to do just to make sure I was keeping up in the classroom, because that's the most important thing. And then also, you're there to play lacrosse. So that's also a big deal in my life. And I had to make sure I was prioritizing that as well over maybe things I'd, have more fun doing. But both things, the whole school, it's phenomenal. So I definitely enjoyed everything I did there.
Now, what was like the biggest improvement you've made to your game since the start of your freshman season to now?
Yeah, so I mean, it was definitely a roller coaster my freshman season. Wasn't always, where I wanted to be, especially in the beginning of the season. But I think it definitely taught me a lot about myself. I had to, improve even early in the season just to get better and make sure I could, kind of step foot, make more of an impact on the field. So I had to kind of look in the mirror, work on some of the stuff I needed to work on, and just improve in the way that my coaches wanted me to contribute more and be more of a leader out there on attack. So, happy with how we ended, or I ended, but definitely wish we went much further in the long run. But it was definitely a great first year. Happy with how it went. Just looking to definitely improve and make it all the way.
So we're now in a segment I like to call 5 questions that have nothing to do with lacrosse. And the goal of this segment is to hopefully get to know you a little bit more off the field.
Awesome,
So
yeah.
So first one is, if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
Oh, good question. I honestly have never thought about that. Uh, okay, I mean, it's gonna be kind of random, but Kate McKinnon, I love her on SNL. I mean, I don't think I'm nearly as funny as her, but I think I'm pretty like weird,
Mhm.
awkward at times. I think she would capture that maybe better than even myself. So she'd have to maybe be more into sports, but yeah, I'd say maybe her. But that's probably just doing myself a disservice because I'm really not that funny. But I love Kate McKinnon.
I would say Tom Cruise for me. It just makes my life look more interesting with all those
Yeah, no,
stunts.
I mean that's a great call. I think Tom Cruise playing anyone is always a great compliment.
What is the most underrated holiday and what is the most overrated holiday?
Ooh, I would say underrated, probably Fourth of July. I feel like that's always a great day here. We were in London for the Fourth of July and definitely felt like we missed a lot. They don't celebrate it, obviously. Pretty mad that we were trying to celebrate it. So that's probably underrated in my opinion. I think I missed out on that this year, and a lot of my friends had some fun. If it's at the beach or just near water, I feel like it's always the best way to celebrate. Overrated? Probably Halloween in my opinion. I've never been a big Halloween person. I don't like
Hmm.
I just feel like it's always overhyped and then it's just never as fun as maybe you think it was, especially when you're older, like dressing up. I don't know, but younger, I guess you get some candy, but that's kind of never that fun either. So
I would say overrated's New Year's Eve, just
New
because
Year's Eve, that's a great one.
you're just
Yeah.
waiting for a clock to turn midnight, pretty
Yeah.
much, and then that's it. So, um,
Yeah. No, that's probably a better one. Yeah. New Year's Eve is definitely overrated.
and then underrated is Thanksgiving because it's sort of overshadowed from Christmas,
Uh-huh.
but it's like
True,
super
true.
fun because you're just like eating food and watching
Yeah.
football. So,
Yeah. Thanksgiving's probably, yeah, top two, maybe top one. Yeah.
next non-lacrosse question is who has the best style on the UNC women's lacrosse team besides yourself?
Oh, I would say definitely not myself. I don't have any style, any game in that way. Uh, I mean, I feel like everyone's uniquely themselves, but I think if I had to have anyone's style, like their closet on the team, I'll give it to my girl Molly Longfield. She's another incoming sophomore in my class, and she's herself, and she always looks great and like wears the best clothes to like any event. So I'll give it to her. She probably has the best style on the team.
What is one item on your bucket list that you hope to do one day?
Oh, probably skydiving. I am like really afraid of heights though, so I can barely like walk up like escalators at times. But I think I would do skydiving if I had the opportunity. So maybe I'll get that one checked off.
Yeah, you just gotta strap yourself onto someone, I
Yeah, I feel like
assume.
I'm just like in the plane. Someone pushes me off, I could do
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, I would not do that. I'm too afraid of heights to, and
Yeah,
just
that is smart.
uh, I would say for me, just travel different spots. Go to Europe and
Yeah,
West Coast and all that stuff. That
mhm.
looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, so much to explore and see.
I think Australia would be cool. That would be also on the bucket list too.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's definitely somewhere I want to go eventually. Obviously, a long travel day, but I think it's definitely worth it.
Now, last non-lacrosse question is, what's the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
Ooh, okay. So the new Barbie movie's out, and I definitely want to see that. So the other day I was looking for like show times in my area, and on Google, when you search up Barbie, there's like pink fireworks, and then your whole Google screen turns pink. So I was pretty like shocked about that. I think their marketing campaign for Barbie has been incredible. Everywhere I look, there's something pink Barbie inspired. So that I mean, I read the reviews; they've been pretty good so far. I think it was opening day either today or yesterday. So I was shocked that my Google screen turned pink the other day. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm more of an Oppenheimer guy, so I probably want to
Okay,
see
yeah.
that.
Obviously, there's two different sides of the sword there. I probably would lean more towards Barbie, but Oppenheimer looks incredible too.
Yeah, I'm really into those like history movies, so I feel like
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
interesting to see what happened there. Because I like
yeah.
Dunkirk a lot. I think the same
Okay, yeah.
director did it, and that was a really
Great
good
job.
movie.
Great movie.
So I would say that. I think for me, most interesting thing that I saw this week, uh, honestly, it was probably the whole Barbie Oppenheimer thing. I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
interesting. So
yeah.
I'd
The
probably
kind
go
of
with that
debate
as well.
there. Yeah, no, it's great debate. Yeah, I think you're kind of either one of the other, so it's cool to see.
Now, getting back to some lacrosse questions now, what should be done to help grow women's lacrosse from your perspective?
I feel like just putting it more on TV. I think a lot of the games here, luckily, like I mentioned earlier, ACC is usually on ESPN, ESPN Plus. But I think there's a lot of great games that are played that are on these smaller kind of networks, and maybe you have to pay for. So I think just seeing more of the games going on, kind of the free digital online market on TV, would be great. I think if someone saw it on TV, they'd just be more inclined to turn it on, tune in, learn about the game, and hopefully grow it. So I think just kind of getting those deals up with ESPN or whoever it is, just to get them more broadcast nationally and then hopefully all over the world at some point would be really cool to see.
That's how I saw it. So it was just on TV one day and started watching it. I thought it was
Yeah,
awesome. So,
yeah,
and
yeah,
now this
exactly.
podcast exists. So it's all because of that stuff. So I told him,
That's great.
uh, what advice would you give to younger players who want to pursue a career in college lacrosse like yourself, or like what you are up to now, I guess. So,
Yeah, yeah, no, great question. I think if younger players, just try to just surround yourself with the game as much as possible. Obviously, have a life with that doesn't involve lacrosse, but if you really want to, make it to next level, just kind of indulge yourself in the game. Keep watching film. Watch, the pro level college lacrosse. I think I learned so much from film, from watching, being a visual learner. Like I just have to see it first, probably on a screen or something, and then I can really try to implement it in my game. So I think just doing that and just always having your stick in your hand if that's possible. I mean, I just remember growing up, just walking around my house, and I just would always pretend I had the stick in my hand, doing silly little dodges around, chairs and stuff in my house. So things like that, just, always kind of be thinking about how to improve your game will just help you. And then also just surround yourself with good competition. I think that's what's kind of shown a lot in college. I think that's why people want to recruit, certain players from areas that, there is higher competition, because they're just kind of more prepared for the college game and they have less of a transition, and they kind of just get right into the game. So I think just try to, surround yourself with really good players. I think you see that more and more. Like people are moving to Long Island or Maryland for the summer just to really play on these club teams, which I mean could be a lot for certain families. So I'm not saying you have to move across the country for lacrosse, but I think just trying to find those competitive leagues or tournaments where you can just kind of make yourself better will definitely help you in the long run.
Well, before we end this interview, any shout outs you want to give to your teammates, family members, or friends, and who should we have on the podcast next?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give a shout out to the people that I'm with right now, to studs in the college game. Bella Saviano, number 22 for Yale women's lacrosse. Definitely have her on the podcast. She's got a lot to offer. And then I think you just finished the podcast with Emily Peak from Hopkins, so I'm with her as well. Sorry if they made any noise. That's definitely on my bad. But yeah, those two girls, shout out them. I think maybe you've already done Emily, so invite Bella on next if you can.
Awesome. I'll definitely reach out and see what happens. But thank you so much, Caroline, for coming on the pod. I appreciate your time. It means a lot to myself. I really enjoyed our conversation today, and I wish you nothing but the best for the upcoming season.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have had a lot of fun. So wish you best of luck with this podcast. It's an awesome idea, and yeah, nice to meet you, and great conversation.